Hey everybody, Tim Miller from the Bulwark here with my buddy JVL, author of the Triad newsletter, which you must read over at thebulwark.com. I wanted to talk about some developing information about what Donald Trump plans for the Department of Justice. And he had a take, I guess, let's put it this way, JVL. He had a take on the NBA cheating scandal.
I mean, I should hope so. He's the president. Well, doesn't he have to have takes on everything?
Yeah, I mean, surely he always has back on his Twitter feed, sure. And I think he one time weighed in on the breakup between
Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart.
Yes, good pull.
Yeah,
good pull.
Yeah,
so he's going to weigh in on everything. He's like the talk radio call-in.
Team Robert, if I'm remembering.
I mean, I'm Team Robert, so I don't really remember what the breakup was over. I just find him handsome. Okay, so anyway, I just hate for you to lump me in with Donald Trump. So he had a take on this. Many people have takes on this. Maybe there's too much gambling involved in sports. There's too little gambling. Like, who cares? Is it poor Chauncey Billups, Mr. Big Shot? His legacy now seems to be in question because it seems like he was doing some pretty bad stuff. I'm sure you have some takes on it. His take was a little strange, though, and I'd like to read it to you. It was a little bit of a kind of a right turn. It didn't seem like he was like weighing in on the merits of what Terry Rozier was up to. He writes this: "What's worse, the NBA players cheating at cards and probably much else? Black people must probably be doing other crimes. We don't really know, but we can just assume there are other crimes happening."
Wouldn't say that about golfers, would he?
Yeah, I don't think so. Or the Democrats cheating on elections. The 2020 presidential election being rigged and stolen is a far bigger scandal. Look what happened to our country, And then we get to the policy portion of this bleat. "I hope the DOJ pursues this with as much gusto as befitting the biggest scandal in American history. If not, it will happen again, including in the midterms. No mail-in or early voting. Yes to voter ID. Watch how totally dishonest the California prop vote is, et cetera, et cetera. Get smart Republicans before it's too late." A lot here. But the most notable thing to me is that Donald Trump is watching TV and live reacting to it, as he does our president. He sees his handpicked FBI director, Kash Patel, all over the cameras, getting attention that he should be getting, talking about how the FBI has found cheating in the NBA. And his response to that is, "Kash, priorities seem to be off here. Shouldn't you be focused on the biggest crime in history when we pretended that I had lost the 2020 election?"
Yeah, it's I mean, what's Kash doing? It's a funny thing though, because you hate to give it to the president, but he is right. If the 2020 election was stolen, then it means that we had an illegitimate president for 4 years and we were living under a coup. Right? Yeah. I mean, this would be like the biggest story in Western civilization following World War II, right? A major power.
History of the company, man. Maybe going back to the Civil War in our case.
Right. I mean, like kind of a really big deal. Yeah. And this has always been the thing that that didn't quite make sense about the Republicans, because if they meant it seriously, or if they meant it literally, not seriously, then you're like, well, I'm sorry, hold on. Like, don't you fight civil wars over something? Like, if somebody carried out a coup,
yes, and it's true. And I've been kind of making this point as a gag recently, like, and saying on podcasts, it's just like, I thought this was the biggest scandal in American history. The election was stolen from Donald Trump. He has now all of the power and resources of the government at his hands. Shouldn't they be using that to go after the perpetrators? And my gag comment, the president now is just expressly advocating that his DOJ does look into this.
Like OJ, he's searching for the real killers. Yes. And the funny thing here is, though, and I forget who made this point. It might have been Ann Applebaum, might have been somebody else. At the end of the day, in a weird way, the criminal justice system is probably the least subject to total corruption. Like, the prosecutorial side of it can be corrupted. The Department of Justice can be corrupted. The FBI can be corrupted. But at the end of the day, they do have to get like 12 normal Americans to sit together. And
on a local level, in individual cases, you could have dirty cops planting evidence on people, right? But like at scale, very challenging.
And I mean, we've seen this with just like grand juries and attempts to indict people in DC, right? Where the normal voters in DC who are sent to jury duty on this stuff look and say, F that. No, I'm not signing off on that.
And they haven't really shown that I mean, maybe this is doable, but it's just as worth noting that they haven't really shown that they have like the balls for a just full effort to, like we're going to totally co-opt the criminal justice system by doing the things you would need to do, like such as planting evidence, like using the
fabricating evidence,
fabricating evidence. Right? Like they're doing some of the stuff again, like you're saying on the margins, which is like Bill Pulte has been Googling every Democrat in the country's mortgage history, and we're going to see if anybody has been, claiming their second house is their first, and then we'll take that to a grand jury, and most of the grand juries have been like, and we'll see how the James case ends up shaking out, right? But like that, your heart's not really in the game if that's what you're doing. Like if you really wanted to corrupt it, you got to be even more aggro. You got to give the same effort to it that Trump gave to the Stop the Steal effort, really.
Bulwark Takes is sponsored by Quince. As the weather cools, I'm swapping in pieces that actually get the job done. We're talking warm, durable, and built to last. And Quince delivers every time with wardrobe staples that'll carry you through the season. Quince has the kind of staples that you want to actually wear on repeat. We're talking things like the 100% Mongolian cashmeres for just $60, the classic fit denims, and the real leather and wool outerwear that looks sharp and holds up. I've got my eye on their suede trucker jacket. It's perfect for layering and just looks really casual and put together. If there's one thing I need to do when I'm out and about in the nation's capital, it's look casual but put together. Speaking of casual, the hoodie and joggers that I ordered from Quince are staples of my wardrobe, and they are essential when I want to do absolutely nothing, like lounging and watching TV. By partnering directly with ethical factories and top artisans, Quince cuts out the middlemen to deliver premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Layer up this fall with pieces that feel as good as they look. Go to quince.com/bulwarktakes for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. It's now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/bulwarktakes. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/bulwarktakes.
So this is one of the weaknesses of Trump's position, which is that he has found it hard to convince other people to break the law on his behalf. Not impossible. He has found people to break the law on his behalf. He pardoned 1,500 of them, right? He's had Bannon and Rudy and all sorts of people break the law on his behalf. But there's also been a class of people who, when asked it, Mike Pence was like, no, thank you. And to do evidence planting stuff, say to oh, Mr. Bolton, look at what we found here. It's a bag marked top secret, To do that sort of thing.
You need a real criminal enterprise. You need the mob. You need to be an actual mob boss instead of like a pretend one that he's trying to be. And you
do need people who are you need FBI agents who totally trust that if they get pinched, the president's going to pardon them.
Right.
And I think those are harder to come by right now than the president would like. Will they still be hard to come by in 24 months? I don't know. Right. Sure. I mean, life is coming at us fast.
Yeah, right. I agree with that. And so in that sense, that makes this in the bucket of what's it called where you have a barrier between something that things can leak through. Anyway, there's a word
porous
for this
barrier, the brain-blood barrier. Is that what you're thinking of?
Brain-blood barrier. Yeah, porous barrier. Yeah. It's kind of porous between these two buckets, but you've got the absurd Veep side of Trump's attempt to become an autocrat, and then you have the scary real threats of the ways in which Trump's trying to become an autocrat. This is mostly in the absurd Veep side, right? Which is Mr. Patel, please investigate the person that stole the election from me, because nobody did steal the election from them, and there's not a lot of reasons for anybody to have concerns, but that is the kind of thing that if as you're saying over the next 24 months they find more and more accomplices for this effort, and it becomes more urgent that they do this sort of thing because, whatever, they have concerns that the law might come for them someday. There could be a lot of other, reasons. Then maybe that becomes more serious.
I would say, though, it is important for people to understand that if you look at totalitarian regimes throughout all of modern history, almost all of them are a combination of Veep plus Stalin, right? Even Stalin was a combination of Veep plus Stalin.
Sure.
Go back to Hugo Chavez. He was a preposterous figure. And he was, on TV constantly warning that the Americans were about to invade any minute, when it was like the farthest thing from Barack Obama's mind, right? Barack Obama was not going to invade Venezuela. And yet Chavez
maybe he
was
had a
out there
time
like
machine
a buffoon.
from the future. It was a Trump 2.0.
But this is, it was true for Mussolini. It's true always. These dictators are always half figure of fun and half serious. And that's part of what makes them successful, is because a lot of people can then get lured into saying, oh, well, this guy, look at what a buffoon he is. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. And that's dangerous.
Last thing that I just think bears mentioning this, because sometimes you just have to say these things explicitly. This person, the president, is mentally unwell. And again, this stuff just is now this water that we're swimming in, as Sarah likes to say. And so you get used to it at various times. But the idea that the president of the United States would watch the news story about how a couple of NBA players were betting on games and betting the under on their points and assists and our coaches were betting against their team and then deciding not to play their good players. Serious stuff, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a sports betting scandal that goes back to the Black Sox. So you have this, that the president of the United States would watch the news about the fact that this was happening in the country, and the response to that is, I'm sorry, shouldn't my FBI director be focusing on the imaginary crimes that happened to me instead? That is deranged. It's a delusional response. It's unclear. I guess it doesn't really matter whether he is actually that delusional and thinks that this crime happened against him, or whether he continues to feel like he has to put on this performance. But it's just worth pointing out. It is an unstable mind.
It is. But what's dangerous is that he is also projecting forward to, we're now 12 months out from the 2026 elections. And he has said pretty clearly, there was an interview he gave to somebody last week, I think it was, where he said, it must never be allowed. What happened in 2020 must never be allowed to happen again. What does that mean? Right? Does he mean Democrats can't? Because according to Donald Trump, Democrats have only succeeded and won elections illegitimately since he appeared on the scene. So they've cheated every single time. Does that mean Democrats can't be allowed to win an election? It certainly seems like what he's saying.
And to that point, he specifically mentions this year. He's already laying the groundwork for a Stop the Steal effort of this year, where he says the California prop vote is going to be, you're already seeing how it's dishonest, millions of ballots being shipped. So that's already happened. So he's already laying the groundwork, because the polls are out there. It shows that the Gavin Newsom ballot initiative is probably going to win. And so he's already out there saying now. And so what's that going to look like?
And the answer is none of us have any idea, right? At the very minimum, it'll be court litigation everywhere. But I don't know, Mike Johnson has been refusing to seat a new Democratic member of Congress for 4 weeks now? And I don't know, who's the police who's going to come in and force him to seat somebody that they say is illegitimate? Maybe he can get states to say, the great state of Mississippi, which has one Democrat. We think that congressional district election was really fishy, and so we're not going to certify that one, right? Yeah. There are a dozen ways this could go down, and we are in a position of hoping that the judicial system will prevent those things from happening. We are far past the point of simply assuming as a matter of course that the president won't try to do those things.
Well, uplifting as usual, JVL, as we at least have Jokic, who'll be playing tonight. We know he doesn't cheat. Ethical basketball only from Nikola Jokic. The only gambling he's doing is on horse racing. And so we appreciate him for that very much. Jonathan V. Last, we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah. Good luck, America.
Subscribe to the feed, everybody.